Welcome to Gourd-geous Gals. My name's Wendy, and today I'm going to do a Chili Verde casserole. These are the ingredients that I use, and it's got a lot of healthy stuff in it. Kale and cauliflower and peppers and olives and black beans and cilantro. And what I do is I start off with the meat first, and I put it into my Ninja Foodie, which is a pressure cooker air fryer. So I put the pork in, and then I put the chorizo in. And it makes it a lot easier doing it with this because it does go a lot faster versus trying to cook your pork all day long. Once I get all that put into the pot, then I do my cilantro and, give that a nice fine chop. It usually takes a little bit to put it together, but it's all good. But run that, chop that up really nice and fine, and then I do the kale also. I do devein it, so we cut the leaves off of the stem part because that part's really hard. You don't want to eat that part. So just the leaves. That's what makes it taste better. But when it cooks in with everything else, you don't really notice the kale. I'm not really a big fan of raw kale, but putting it in soups and stews, to me, it's actually really good. So I do chop all my kale and my cilantro and get that all into the pot. And then once I get to the peppers, I run those through my little chopper, which you'll see that here in a minute. And it turned out really good. I was actually quite surprised. And now we're going to get to the little chopper. This is a little spinny chopper thing. I don't really know what it's called, but I do use it a lot. So just put all your peppers in there and chop them up. And I'll add a can of green chilies also to that, which that's coming up here in a minute. There's my green chilies, which dump those in. And just give it a nice chop. These things are really nice. They do onions and tomatoes, and I've done nuts through it. I've done all kinds of stuff. It just makes it really fast and easy, and you don't cry when you're doing onions either, which is kind of nice. And this is going to be the consistency that you want. Just dump that into the pot, which I'm taking a little bit here, sorry. So just dump that into the pot, and you're all good there. And then after I've dumped that stuff in, then I'll also do a can of chicken broth. And I don't know if you guys know what a church key is, but they call it a church key. It's a little can opener. And I give it a shake, just to get anything that sits on the bottom or the top. And pour the chicken broth into the pot. And then I'll grab my salsas. These are two different salsas that I found that I really liked the flavor of. And one is mild and one is medium. So the medium does have a little more heat to it. But I think, depending on how your heat flavors, I think you'll really like the mixture of the two, because it does give it a little bit of heat, but doesn't burn your mouth like a jalapeno would. Sometimes those get a little hot. And then after you get all this dumped into there, I do like to give it a stir, and these are some of the spices that I use. There's garlic and onion powder, and I do a pretty good heaping spoonful of garlic. We really like garlic, so I know it probably seems like a little bit overkill. And then I add the onion powder, and it's not really to measurement, it's just kind of to your likings. And I think kind of as you start doing that, you'll figure out kind of what you like more of. And then I do granulated garlic also. And again, just dump it in there, and it always turns out good. And then cumin, which I do like cumin. It's that kind kind of deep, rich flavor that you get in Mexican food a lot, which I really do like that. You'll see I kind of dump quite a bit in there, but it's all good. And then some salt, which you do need it because pork really doesn't have a ton of flavor. So I always do add some salt with that. So again, I'm not sure how much this is. I'm going to say maybe a teaspoon. I have small hands, so kind of looks like about a teaspoon. So I do 2 of those, sprinkle those in there. And then after you get all your seasonings in there, you'll want to stir that up just to kind of spread it around so that when it does start cooking, it's kind of spread out a little more rather than just sitting right on the top. Just get it all good and mushed in there and ready for the lid to go on, and we'll get to cooking this. And this one, I set it for 40 minutes. I think 40 is a good even time to go on this. But, depending on how much pork you're putting in there, it'll take longer or shorter time. And then lock your lid, set your timer for 40 minutes. That's your little steam spout. Set it for 40. And then we'll start the cauliflower process. So I used a whole head of cauliflower with this. And what I did with this mixture, this is my little food processor, which is really a little one. I need to get a bigger one because I can only do a little bit at a time. But what I did with this mixture is I took a big baking dish and I layered the bottom half of the roasting pan with the cauliflower mixture, which it's going to have the cilantro and the kale and some pepper jack cheese, and then 2 eggs. It helps to kind of bind it a little bit. But then you just take that and you mash it into the bottom of your roasting pan, and then take your pork mixture when that's cooked and just do a layer of the cauliflower, a layer of the pork mixture, a layer of the cauliflower, a layer of the pork mixture. And then I just popped it in the oven at 350, and it baked for probably about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. You just want it until it's bubbly. But this is the cilantro. I saved part of this for topping off the casserole also. So that goes into the bowl. And then, like I said, I also did the kale again in that mixture. And it was something I was trying different for, trying not to use the tortillas. And it was actually surprisingly really good. I think you might really enjoy it. So yeah, once I get this is the kale now, so I'll get the kale chopped and ready to go. And then you just mix it all up really good and like really fast like that. But yes, this recipe was definitely a trial and error situation. And I do actually season this mixture with a little bit of Himalayan pink salt. It's kind of a little sweeter. And I do crushed black pepper. And the salt, I just do 2 pinches. And the fresh cracked pepper. And just make sure you do mix it good to get the cilantro and the kale kind of evenly mixed throughout the whole thing. And then, like I said, you just layer it, put your cauliflower on the bottom, and a layer of the meat mixture, and a layer of cauliflower until you get through the whole thing. And it's pretty fantastic. I was very pleasantly surprised. And now I should be getting to the meat part here in a minute. So you just mix it up really good. So the cauliflower and the kale are kind of throughout the whole thing. And then we'll go to the meat. So this is the quick release. I use a wooden spoon so I don't burn myself because it is really hot. And once that little red dot pops, you can pop your lid off your steamer. And on the inside is all your meat, all nice and cooked. And then it takes a little bit to get it shredded apart, but just break up the meat so it's kind of nice and shredded, where when you go to layer it on top of your cauliflower, it layers up really nicely so you don't have a lot of big chunks. Not that that's bad, but it does make it easier to kind of spread it out on your casserole. And so just get that all nice and broke apart. Okay, now what I'm doing is 2 cans of whole olives into the chopper. Have to make sure they're okay. Just like that. I do drain off my black beans, strain them out, dump the can, strain them out. It's kind of nasty. And I've already grated my pepper jack cheese. 2 eggs. Now this is the cauliflower mixture. So, there goes nothing. Goes in there. Now this is the cheese, pepper jack cheese. 1, 2, 3. 3 spoonfuls. Okay, so that's good. Black beans. Stir. Sprinkle some of the olives. I'm attempting a version of like a tamale pie, I think, is what I'm trying to do here, but I really don't know. So about a whole jar for this whole thing. And then this is the rest of the cilantro. Okay, so I baked this at 350 for about an hour and a half until it's bubbly. And I hope you guys enjoy this and have a gorgeous day. See you on the next video. Bye.